Hi, my name's Tom Shue, and today I'm going to teach you guys how to take one of your raw files and process it multiple times inside Photoshop to create any kind of dynamic range or change you want to your photo. And this will allow you to, just run wild with your imagination as far as your creative vision is concerned in post. Okay, so first of all, we're going to right click and we're going to say Edit in Photoshop, but we're going to do it as a smart object. So it's opening up inside Photoshop, and it will bring it in to a layer. And you can see that once it pops up, you've got this layer with this little square icon right here. That means it's a smart object. So what we can do is we can double click on this, and we're going to make a change. Say, for example, I wanted to work on this ground, and I wanted a really grungy ground. So I just grab the clarity slider and just slam it to the right. You see how that changed the ground for us? Maybe I can kick up the vibrance a little bit here. And maybe I'll bring down the blacks a little bit and open up the shadows just a hair. We'll click OK, and this will hand this file back off into Photoshop from Camera Raw. Now I'm just going to duplicate this layer just so we can create like a snapshot of this frame. So we're going to hit Control Alt Shift E, and that's Command Option Shift E on the Mac, and that creates like a snapshot of all the changes we've made. Okay, so I'm just going to delete this layer right here because we no longer need it. And I'm going to double click on that smart object again, and it's going to open it back in Camera Raw. I click Default, it will zero everything out, and I will zero this out, and we'll click OK. Let it open up again. Now you see we've got two copies of this image. Okay, so with this top layer selected, I'm going to go to Select, click on Color Range. Now when we're in color range, I'm going to click on this plus symbol, and I'm just going to click around on this ground. You can hold down the Shift key and you can make multiple selections. Okay, so we can select this road how we want. We click OK, and you see it's going to load up the marching ants. Well, that's too much stuff selected. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into quick mask mode. But before I do, I'm going to fix my paint chips. I'm going to hit the D key for default to get them back the way they are. And if you click on this little icon here or the letter Q, you'll launch quick mask. Now, when you have white selected, you're going to be removing information from the mask. So we're going to take off everything off the sky because we were just concerned with the ground. Okay, I'm not necessarily want to make a change on this car here. Since I'm running this screen capture software, it's going to go really slow for me here. Maybe I painted too much, so let's just get rid of this stuff off the car. Make my brush a little bit bigger. Get this off the wheels. And for the sake of the tutorial, I'm not going to be too accurate on this. So I'm going to flip it. I'm going to hit the X key and go to the black chip. And I'm just going to select this whole ground. What we're trying to do is make a selection so that we can create a mask and just mask everything off for our road. Okay, so let's grab this road back here. And again, we'll hit the X key and we'll just take some off. A little bit sloppy here because I got my desk is full of stuff here. So let's just take this off the tire, off this back bumper. Let's remove it off these people and this Corvette back here. Okay, grab it off the front bumper and then remove it off this front tire. Okay, so we'll just call this OK for now. So now we're going to hit the Q key, or you can hit this icon, and then we'll turn it back into the marching ants. However, we want to invert this selection because we don't want to select everything else. So we're going to hit Control Shift I or Command Shift I on the Mac, and that will invert our selection. Now with this selected up here, we're going to hit the mask icon here. Okay, and now you can see that it masked everything off so that we just have that grungy road that we did inside Camera Raw. So we could go back in to launch this Camera Raw icon, and we could do the same thing, except this time we could concentrate on, say, maybe the sky. So how will we make the sky a little bit darker here? Maybe we'll grab our exposure down a little bit, not too much, and maybe we'll bump the contrast a little bit there, and take down the highlights, And let's come down here to vibrance. And maybe kick the saturation up a little bit. We'll click OK. We could do the same thing. I'm going to turn this layer off that's up here. So now we're just seeing the changes we made there. And I'm going to duplicate it by hitting Control J or Command J on a Mac. And then I'm going to do my shortcut. Control Alt Shift E or Command Option Shift E on a Mac. Okay, so I can get rid of that duplicated smart layer. And now you can see we've got two layers. We've got one with our fancy sky and one with our ground the way we had it. Okay, so you can see there's the sky. So what we need to do is go back in and open the smart object again, and we're going to put it back to default. Click on default, and we'll change this to 0 and this to 0. Click OK, and now we'll have three options. We'll have the original image. There's our original file. Then we'll have the image with our sky, which we'll just drag on top. And we have our road underneath. So there's our grungy road. Okay. There's our sky. And there's our original image underneath. So you could see how you could go in and mask off just the sky, just the way we did in the quick mask tool. And you could do the same thing specifically for this tire, or specifically for the side of the car, or anywhere in the image that you wanted. Multiple processing inside Camera Raw. I'm sorry this tutorial ran a little long, but it's a lot of information to cover in one tutorial. So I want to thank you all for taking time to visit my blog today. Until next time, we'll see you soon.